Hi, I'm Simon Baptist from Branch, run partnerships for us in EMEA. Really excited to talk to you tonight about with an exciting panel of people. We're going to talk about the importance of unlocking apps. So just take you through a couple of slides quickly, and then we'll introduce the panel and we'll roll from there. Hopefully that sounds good for everyone. All right. Okay, so in terms of the panel, you got me. I'm your host, if you like. I'm joined by Clementyne Lavender from Awin, Alexander Holt from Global Savings Group, Oleg Shpilev from Branch, and Nicholas Yates from Silverbean. And I think what I like about this panel tonight is I'm going to try to do as little talking as possible and really introduce you and let you have a bunch of experts take you through some various stages of, why is it a challenge, or why should we be unlocking app? What are some of the challenges, and really leave everyone with some tangible next steps in terms of that. And in terms of who we're representing, we've got Clementyne or Clems from Awin, which is an affiliate network. We've got Alexander representing the publishers, Oleg representing the tech partnerships, and Nicholas representing the agencies and brands. So quickly, just want to dive into the evolution of kind of, and just set the scene a bit in terms of what is affiliate marketing, right? This is from Robert Glazer. Robert Glazer wrote a great book that everyone should read. I can drop you an Amazon affiliate link later. Really, it's all about affiliate marketing is dead and long live partner affiliate marketing. What we mean by that is that today, affiliates or performance or partner marketing is a growing and a very important channel that continues to evolve. And I think now, when you consider all the things like influencers, are they affiliate marketing? I would put them under that. You have sophisticated payouts. You have all these different ways that you can be leveraging this. I'm not going to dive too long into this, but I think the important thing is that really when you think about the landscape today, you've got traffic and performance, which comes from, the affiliates or the publishers or the partners, which various different ways. But we have, as I said, Global Savings Group representing that group today. We have affiliate and partner networks kind of being able to leverage that at scale to optimize and drive that performance, and through into advertisers and agencies represented by Silverbean. So kind of you have on one side supply and on the other side demand. And really what we're looking is traffic, performance, payout, and data kind of going back and forth across that. And why the time for affiliate is now, really like that COVID impact. If you just look at a lot of it, even going back quite early into the year, there was a lot of people like Google saying 50% of their ad spend, the revenue should be probably going to be down. There's a lot of things. So what I really find fascinating and important around this channel is that it's tied to outcomes. If you kind of funny if you kind of know a little bit about Branch and what we do, one of the things is we help people measure the effectiveness of app installs. But really, I think that's top of funnel. And what I love about affiliate, and we talk about unlocking app tonight, that you're going to learn that that's top of funnel. And with working with affiliate networks, you can go straight, and the affiliate channel go straight into driving outcome, right? Whether that's transaction or whatever. So there's the impact of the walled gardens, there's the ROI, and then there's the partnership. So these are kind of a quick glance of why affiliate is now. But really simply put, I think for me, I just think with Branch and Awin worked together on locking app for one client in one market on one of their brands earlier this year. And we drove together incremental. We're going to see £5 million worth of new sales coming through, which just to me is not an insignificant number if you just think that's one market, and this company's multiple markets, multiple brands. So you that's just incremental on already top of what Awin is driving for them, right? So just set the scene a little bit more and talk about the rise of mobile apps. The kind of general view is, 66% of mobile transactions occur within the mobile app. 3 times mobile apps convert better than mobile websites, 40% higher AOV. Lots of different stats you can find around this. But I simplify that and just put your VIP should live in the app. You should have an app that a VIP wants to be in, or people want to be in. You want to make it easy for them to transact. I think we see that all the time. Yes, people try to get their mobile website to work better all the time, but I think it's just personally speaking, I prefer shopping. I prefer transacting. I prefer watching video, whatever it is within an app. I don't necessarily enjoy that experience, and you want to use that experience regularly, kind of on mobile web. And one of the things to break out there is it's not easy anymore in terms of mobile app. There's a lot of fragmentation. There's a lot of channels, and that really drives a lot of complexity in terms of how do you drive people into the app. And that's where the affiliate channel really comes into bear, and excited to kind of move forward and talk about that. Right. So I'm going to stop sharing the screens and going to have my my panelists join me. So yeah, guys, come on in, and then we'll start the introductions. All right, how are we doing, everybody?
Doing well.
Doing very well, thank you.
Good, thank you.
Right, excellent. So, kind of I'll go through it in the order of the slides, and one of the things that we had talked about earlier is just for us it's 6 o'clock. For some of us it's 7 o'clock. So we're going to do this slightly informally, and as an icebreaker, I've asked everyone to just tell us what they're drinking. It doesn't have to be a cocktail, a glass of wine, but I think everyone maybe has done that. For myself, I'm actually quite, I have a little bit of a fever. So I've gone the hot toddy route. I thought that would help things out. Just basically some whiskey, lemon, honey, and then I've put in, to be fancy, some ginger cubes. So you'll see me biting on those from time to time. But yeah, just kind of going in order of what we said earlier. Clem, do you mind just introducing yourself?
Yep, sure. So as Simon mentioned, I'm Clementyne Lavender. I've been at Awin, a leading affiliate network, for just over 5 years. A lot of my time was spent in the publisher department, but earlier this year, I moved into the Global Strategic Partnerships Manager role, and I'm tackling one of the biggest value opportunities of the industry at the moment, which is app tracking.
And no drinks, right?
Oh, yeah. That's what you really wanted to know, isn't it? You're like, is she going to stop speaking? Here we go. But not very exciting, but I've got the glass of wine.
Excellent. Okay, thank you very much. Alexander, over to you.
Hey guys, I'm in Munich, our headquarters for Global Savings Group, and I have brought with me today a Munich Helles, which is like essentially a good German beer. Now, we missed Oktoberfest this year, so I will enjoy a beer tonight with all of you guys.
Thank you very much. Nicholas?
Yeah, so I'm Nick. I've worked at Silverbean for 7 years, working on kind of global affiliate management for brands. And my drink after this panel, it will be a bottle of lager. Excellent.
Okay, great. And Oleg, over to you.
Hi, I'm Oleg. I'm a solutions architect at the branch. So I work with the professional services team. Been with the company for a couple of years, and my day-to-day is essentially implementing the end-to-end implementations of the branch platform with the clients. Today, I'm drinking, well, usually I drink amaretto sour, but I had to improvise because I don't have any amaretto. So today it's mezcal sour.
Nice, very good. Brilliant. So we have a couple of themes that we've blocked out, such as, what's the value of unlocking app? What are some of the challenges? And then what are some of the lessons, or what's the ideal solution for doing this? So starting, first question I've got here is, the digital landscape's changed a lot. From your perspective, and we're going to go to everyone here to give everyone a chance as we sit, kind of start talking about this. Why is unlocking the app for affiliates important, and especially now? Clem, if you could start for us, please. Great.
Sure. So, I mean, as you sort of touched upon in your introduction, there's been a huge surge in online users, and average time spent in apps has seen tremendous year-on-year increases across all core markets. So, for example, when I looked at in-app purchases in July 2019 versus March 2020, there's been a 65% uplift. So that's more of a global point of view. And then bringing it sort of back into performance marketing point of view, there were three things I wanted to touch on. So the effects of COVID, just in case everyone is not sick enough of that word, and then discussing data, and then ending on publisher diversification. So, I mean, it's clear to us by now that with COVID, we've seen an influx of new users on digital. And as Simon mentioned, the affiliate channel can really help to capitalize on this huge shift because, you know, it's risk-free. You're paying on performance. And to go sort of into this even more so, apps are really important for this, because if we're dealing with people that were predominantly brick and mortar style shoppers, they're new to the online shopping world, and so they may well need some extra guidance, some hand-holding, and purchasing in-app will enable them to sort of receive this from the brands. And then looking at some stats to sort of back up this idea of the influx of online users and app users, when looking at e-commerce app installs, comparing Q2 to Q1 for Europe, there was a 35% increase there. And interestingly, when we even compared Q2 to Q4 2019, there was still an increase of 12%. And then looking at the US specifically, there was a 70% increase in fashion app usage during lockdown versus Q4 2019. And I think everyone knows that Q4 is our peak period. So for Q2 to be able to surpass that is huge, and it gives you a bit of an idea of quite how big Q4 of 2020 is set to be. And then from a data point of view, everyone knows it's a sought after commodity. And, you know, advertisers really should be looking to have access to as much as of their performance data as they possibly can. You know, so if they've got a transactional app, they should be unlocking the data around this to enable them to make more informed marketing decisions, to have more effective campaigns, better insights, and a better understanding of their publisher performance. If they're reporting on ROI, but they don't have app tracking implemented, their reports will be grossly inaccurate because it will be based on an inaccurate data set. So, you know, it's really necessary from a data point of view to implement app tracking. And then the last thing, I swear, that I wanted to touch on was publisher diversification. So this is really important for the success of an advertiser's program within the affiliate world. And some of the top beneficiaries among publishers for driving app sales are content and social publishers. Two really important publisher types. You know, social has seen record usage during the earlier months of the pandemic, 86% year-on-year increase. And with content publishers, we've seen more and more huge media houses entering the world of affiliates. These companies that were predominantly print in the past, recognizing the need to shift towards digital. And they're bringing with them these enormous reaches. So it's really important for advertisers to really leverage relationships with these two important publisher types. I'll let someone else speak now.
I think that's a great segue into for a publisher to come in. Alexander.
Yeah, thank you so much. I echo everything Clementyne is saying. So we have at GSG, like you sort of, your question was if there's a unlocking the app for affiliates. Now, why is that particularly important right now? I really believe that it's been important for quite a while, but we've just been a little slow to really get in there. However, 2020 has really been a significant year for in-app tracking and adoption of sort of affiliate marketing into the whole space of driving sales to apps. So we have seen at GSG, if I look at our numbers from Jan till September, so the first 9 months of the year, you've seen an incredible 1,500% increase in the sales that we drive to app. So that is that is just outrageous. Now, obviously, some of this is driven by COVID and additional mobile users coming into the space and online shoppers, all of the things that Clementyne touched upon. So if I look at now, say, our traffic, we have about today 60 to 70% of our users are coming from mobile devices. So essentially, these are all potential app customers, and these are customers that if you are an advertiser or as a merchant, a retailer, essentially you want to get hold of all of these users and bring them into your app. We have seen, I would say, the early adopters that sort of come in here, us working with them and doing targeted advertising campaigns towards driving customers to their apps. We're seeing that about 50% of our mobile traffic converts in-app. So it's quite significant. And that obviously explains why we've seen this tremendous growth in the beginning of the year, or sort of this year, sorry.
Get unmuting. Hey, Nick, could you jump in here and just give us a viewpoint of the kind of agency/brand? Because I'm putting you kind of in that kind of position today. You're on the behalf of the marketing department of the brand here.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's absolutely fine for me. So the first one really is just from a brand perspective in regards to kind of the need to diversify their own marketing in regards to app, both app download and kind of in-app campaigns as well. So at the minute, then a lot of spend is kind of pushed towards programmatic, and what we're seeing now is kind of like the need to diversify in regards to spend as well. So affiliate and partnerships is kind of a good channel in regards to diversifying against, obviously moving away from kind of a CPM approach to a CPA approach. And we're kind of seeing a lot of brands now taking this up and seeing the interest in it really. The other point of view as well, Clem mentioned, was just in regards to kind of what we're seeing within apps. We work with likes of Trainline across Europe, for example, and them guys are kind of utilising the app to offer the users added value. So for the likes of Trainline, for example, they've got the split save feature, they've got crowd alerts now for COVID. These are all great reasons in order to kind of purchase from Trainline themselves. But what we can utilise the affiliate and partners to do is really to raise the awareness of the features within the app and to push users towards the app as well. So it's more of an awareness and using content publishers, likes of media, social, in order to direct users towards the app and then obviously reward the affiliates on a CPA, whether it's for app install or continued app purchases as well.
Great, thanks. And Oleg, your viewpoint on this first question, then we'll move on.
Yeah, I think why the time is now. I think the technology right now is at the level of maturity where mobile apps and mobile environments are not really this big restricted walls which are impenetrable. So if you're working with like a true cross-platform solution like Branch, it doesn't really care whether the user goes from web into the app or from app into the web. Essentially, the user experiences are preserved, which is very important for the affiliates, and the tracking is also pretty solid, right? So you're able to attribute this kind of like web touch points to app events. So, and the kind of point that Clem has touched upon earlier as well, the kind of data that you get, again, there's technology now on the market which allows you to kind of gather all this data which apps give you access to, and you're able to then action on those and also use that for your analysis.
Thank you. Well, the next question is always interesting when you ask something like this, especially in a public forum, but I'll go ahead and do it anyway. So, yeah, and it's not have you had a second drink. No, it's one question is often around, is app sales, are they really incremental, right? Aren't you just cannibalizing, or, wasn't that going to happen anyway? These are some of the sort of crazy things you can sometimes hear for people, for brands for reasons. So just wondering, if you have some metrics that you could, talk to that kind of speak specifically to the fact that app is incremental. Alexander, starting with you.
So I would say, I think it's a very good question, really. So we do not see it being, I would say, cannibalizing. We truly believe there's, I would say, incrementality. I think incrementality, it's very much dependent as well on how you design your campaign. And I think the best way to sort of give you an example here of what we did with a big global advertiser, they're in fashion. It's a brand, I can't mention their name. I didn't ask for permission before here, so it will be anonymous. But trust me, you guys all know them. And essentially, earlier this year, they launched their new app, and they came to us and said, hey, we would like to take advantage of all your mobile traffic to drive users in to spend in our app. And essentially what they what they offered was saying, hey, we will offer a 30% discount code that you can advertise on your platforms, but it's only available for users in app. So naturally what happened was that we saw all the traffic that came to our page, they went straight on to download the app and make that transaction in the app so they could benefit from this amazing offer. In fact, we saw 87% sales increase as a result of this campaign. So quite sort of dramatic increase here. So yeah, really, from my end, I really think it comes down to what is your objectives and how do you design your campaigns around driving this incrementality that you're looking for.
Excellent. Okay, Clem, I think you've seen a lot of visibility into this as well. In terms of some of that uplift. I mean, you're already talking that to a degree, and you shared some numbers already. But maybe if there's a way you could, shine a light a bit further onto those.
Yep, sure. So I've got a few different examples to pull on, because this is, again, it's a really interesting point, because it's something that I hear time and time again. No matter sort of how clued in an advertiser is, they always seem to have this question and this worry around incrementality. So I pulled some data together for a few different advertisers that had implemented app tracking on Awin, and I looked at their month-on-month collectively growth. And, there was really healthy month-on-month uplift. And if I went to between month 2 and 3, there was a 41% uplift, which was really big considering they were huge programs before. But I broke this down even further, and there was a 55% uplift for app revenue specifically, but non-app revenue had still increased 31%. So for huge long-standing programs, that's really big. And then I sort of delved into this even deeper, and I looked at the data from just one specific advertiser. And I was looking into their MWeb revenue prior to app tracking being integrated. And on a monthly basis, their uplift was averaging 12%. I looked at their MWeb revenue growth after app tracking had been integrated, and it had actually jumped up to 21%. Which was really interesting to see. And I'm not saying that implementing app tracking is going to enhance MWeb performance, but I am saying that it won't affect it, because you're looking at two separate consumer types, one that wants to convert in app and one that doesn't. And you're just enhancing the journey for those that do want to. And then a couple of other examples I had. One was really interesting because it was an advertiser that implemented app tracking in their infancy of joining the network. So I compared month 3 and month 6, their revenue, and their app revenue had increased 248%, so a really substantial amount. But non-app revenue had grown 972%. So it's huge. And I think this goes to show that, they really are two separate consumer types, and implementing app tracking doesn't cannibalize on non-app based performance. And, this has been seen across so many different advertisers that have implemented app tracking. I could go on and on and on, but, I don't really want to bore you with stats, but there are a lot out there that support the fact that it does add incremental value.
Well, and thank you. And that was a great dive into the data there. But Nick, this is something that, you're living and breathing, and everyone at the agency's living and breathing is to really show this, because overall, you're just looking to grow the program in terms of results, right? But yet you do have to fight that question if you start to push to unlock app as well. So, what are some, how do you tackle this, or what data can you share that proves out that it is incremental?
I think the first thing really is just to kind of look at the core of affiliate marketing and what it delivers. The channel itself is there to attract new customers and to deliver a new customer to the brand and to convert revenue as well. On the back of that, then the understanding of kind of incremental sales or not, it's all about kind of what are the brand objectives. So for us, our typical kind of brand objectives is kind of new customer acquisition. So how many off an affiliate campaign, what is the percentage of new customers versus the percentage of existing, to kind of look at the value that that publisher is actually driving to the brand. And then after that, the lifetime value as well. So once you do attract a new customer through, what is their lifetime value, and how does that input onto the business as well. So in regards to kind of measuring incrementality, we look at two kind of core metrics there. First of all, the new customer acquisition rate coming through from an individual publisher, and then the lifetime value that that new customer has actually gave back to the brand. We can measure that across kind of the desktop, mobile, and then app per publisher. So then obviously we can kind of optimize the campaigns against that as well, and kind of provide that level of feedback to the affiliates, and obviously look to kind of grow on with the revenue for the client as well.
Excellent. Very good. Right. It looks like I'm might be facing some bandwidth issues. I thought I'm not, but maybe I am. But anyway, okay. So let's move on to some of those challenges in terms of moving from web to app, and particularly like pivoting from mobile web to a mobile web world to mobile app is easier said than done. What are some of the challenges that you've seen when making this transition? Oleg, you've been helping clients with this transition. Maybe we could start with you, please.
Yeah, from experience, the kind of the initial challenge that we faced was some skepticism of reliability of routing of the user from the web into the app, and the consistency of it, and then also kind of being able to track those two touch points together, right? So making sure that this kind of in-app event or in-app action is actually truly attributed to the web journey. Unfortunately, the way performance industry is kind of built out, everyone wants to have their tracking in place. There's nothing wrong with that. Everyone wants to have eyes on their campaigns, but the links get wrapped and then wrapped again and rewrapped, which unfortunately doesn't really play nicely with mobile apps specifically. So if you're looking to open up an app, usually you wouldn't really want to wrap the link in anything, because it would essentially break it. So it's a kind of a challenge that we kind of eventually overcame. There are some other methods you can actually use to open up the app, but you must have this protective element, so you have to be absolutely certain the user does have it, otherwise it doesn't present a good user experience. But yeah, it's something that we eventually overcame.
And Nick, again, sorry, back to you here. What do you think? What's some of the kind of, the challenges that you've seen?
No problem. So, I mean, first of all, this is coming from a conversational point of view in regards to kind of trying to persuade a client to kind of integrate app tracking to begin with. I think, first of all, just the adoption. So traditional affiliate tracking is based on pixels. It's based on the kind of tag integration on site on the desktop. Quite a lot of historical campaigns, therefore, are kind of based on pixels. And obviously, in order to kind of implement app tracking moving forwards, then we need to look at a more developed kind of integration, which obviously requires tech resource in order to do. So first of all, it's the kind of rollout from kind of a migration of existing kind of clients from a pixel campaign over to a more developed kind of server-to-server integration. The next one, in regards to the concern as well, is budget, really. So some brands, whether we like it or not, have fixed budgets on an annual basis, which is split by quarter. The thought of kind of increasing app as a campaign could be a challenge for some brands, because naturally, kind of like if for example app conversions were 40% of their overall sales, then turning on affiliate traffic for that could increase the budgets by quite a bit as well. So there is a reservation there in regards to budget, and obviously being able to kind of accommodate that from a client perspective. And then the other one is the split in teams. What we see for kind of our larger brands is that the affiliate and partner channel is kind of one team, and then we also see another team such as the app, people who are reliable for the app and the promotion of the app as well. So the two teams are kind of working in silo, and maybe there might not be the openness within the organisation in regards to kind of they've got this pot of publishers that can really kind of support the business in regards to app installs and in-app purchases. And then you've got the app campaign team who are kind of managing campaign silo of that as well. So it's all about the relationship between the two and kind of the communication between the two as well. So they're the three main challenges that we've seen kind of from a business when we look to kind of talk about app tracking, and obviously looking to integrate that moving forwards as well.
Thanks. Okay, and then let's dive particularly first into publishers with Alex. And what are some of the blockers that you face from in your conversation with advertisers around this? What are some of the blockers that you've been facing?
So I really wanted to now say really echo what Nick just said, sort of in relation to this disconnect between app departments and the affiliate teams. Sometimes, like we definitely see that as well. We have from blockers, I would say it used to be the infrastructure part that was sort of a blocker back in the days. Now, gladly, Branch and others have sort of solved that together with pretty robust integrations from affiliate networks like Awin and others. So that one is sort of checkmarked and over. I think one of the big challenges that we are facing today is really education. So I would say we are still sort of faced with this feeling that not everybody seems to understand the value of driving traffic and conversions into the app. So we have a lot of advertisers that are willing to pay a premium for sales on mobile web and on desktop, but they are not willing to pay for an app sale. And that is something that we are still sort of really working on trying to educate people, because in our world, or at least the way I see it, there should be all reasons why you would want to drive sales into your app instead of your mobile web. There's so many advantages. You presented it, Simon, in the beginning with the introduction of increased conversion, higher AOV, and more frequency, and really this opportunity that you can sort of build a relationship with your customers in a completely different way, something that you don't really have the opportunity to do on mobile web. So that's definitely sort of one of the blockers that we still see, this essence of understanding what is the value of an in-app sale versus a mobile web sale.
Right. Yeah. And it's often it's still fascinating me the differences between the teams. Oh, that's not my job. That's not my job, and it amazes me still, that complexity. And so what I want to do now is just move on to the ideal solution. Which isn't okay. Do we have all the answers? Well, maybe we think we do. So let's go for that. Let's say this is the ideal solution on what we think. With all the data we've seen, with the we have a significant sort of throughput through our organization, if we call that us together here today, talk about that. So just in terms of that, why do you think it's so important for the advertisers to have app tracking switched on? I think, Nick, you touched on a little bit about that it goes, that web bit was easy. There was a pixel. Hey, you fired it when someone hit the website, but there's a complexity. So maybe Clem, because I think I've seen you've really championed this from the network side, at least from what I've been able to see. So just why do you think it's so important? How does that conversation go to someone who doesn't yet have that? What are some of the ways that you can really convince everyone today listening to us that we need to do that?
Yeah, so I think there are a number of things to consider. A lot of them I think we all touched on for our responses to the first question, like increased usage, the effects of COVID, the additional data. There's even the privacy element. App-based tracking isn't susceptible to the browser issues around ITP because it doesn't rely on cookies in the same way. Better commercials, which you touched on in your introduction. So there's so many things that you can sort of deep dive into. But what advertisers really need to realize is that it was in 2016 that mobile usage actually surpassed that of desktop. And ever since then, it's just been growing and growing and growing. And publisher traffic is mirroring this. As Alex mentioned earlier, well over 50% of all publisher traffic is now coming from a mobile device. And there's stats that say of all time spent on a mobile, and the average is around 4 hours a day at the moment, 80% is spent in apps. Additionally, for all mobile traffic, they say that 70% of that is app-based traffic. So, and these stats are from both Criteo and Button. Just realised the "they" term was maybe a bit ominous there. But, there's just a huge amount of app users out there. And so if you're an advertiser that has a transactional app, but you don't have app tracking implemented, that is a huge amount of sales revenue data that you're missing out on. It's a poor customer journey for your consumers that are wanting to convert in app but can't. And, you know, it's just a much better experience for all. It's a huge amount of commission that publishers are missing out on, that they've earned that. And I think at H1 2020, global app purchases reached $50.1 billion. And that was a 23% increase year on year. And usage is increasing even more so, having been accelerated by COVID. So it's really important that advertisers, they capitalize on this shift.
I think we lost our
Yeah,
host. But
I tried to ramble on.
I will jump in after here, because I think it's very interesting, and you did sort of refer to the fact how much traffic we see, right? As a global publisher operating now, say across the globe, most of our platforms have already reached 60 to 70% mobile usage. So it's tremendous. And one of the things, the way we look at it as a publisher, one of our main objectives is to drive the very best user experience, which really translates into apps. At the same time, we also want to offer the very best services for our advertisers. This also translates into apps. So essentially, for us to be able to do our very best job as a publisher, working with advertisers, working with merchants, retailers, we have to, so we need that infrastructure piece, which is the in-app tracking, and we need that enabled, and then we can do truly great stuff together with the advertiser.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a win-win from everyone's part. Like, if you take this customer journey as an example, a consumer starts on a cashback site and then they go into an advertiser's app, they complete a purchase, but that advertiser doesn't have app tracking implemented. That consumer then isn't going to have that tracked, and so won't get their cash back. And so not only are you upsetting your consumer, but you're putting your publishers in an awkward position, because they're not able to sort of uphold their end of things and give you the traffic and happy consumers properly.
All right.
Ta-da.
Ta-da, we have our host back. Welcome back, Simon. I don't know if you can hear us.
I don't think so.
I don't know if...
I think the next question that Simon was going to ask was just in regards to kind of what the best ways are to unlock the app for affiliates, and what guidelines would we each kind of share in regards to optimizing campaigns for affiliates as well, really.
Okay, can you see me? Can you hear me?
We can both.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
You go ahead, Nick. Go ahead, Nick.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I've asked the question, I might as well answer it as well. From my point of view, so the question there was just in regards to kind of the best ways to unlock and roll out a campaign for our clients within app. I think the first thing that we've been doing, especially for our more enterprise-based clients, is kind of having a rollout strategy alongside. So kind of looking to test and learn and monitor the key KPIs that are relevant. So instead of just turning it on for all affiliates to begin with, we've been looking to select certain publishers that might have a little bit more mobile traffic, for example, and looking to do a test and learn approach, just so that then we can kind of slowly ease the client into it and their stakeholders within the business as well with data. The next one is just in regards to supporting publishers as well. So Oleg mentioned earlier in regards to kind of the need to, in order to make sure that the URL is correct, in order to kind of make sure that you're going from desktop to app and things like that. Naturally, there's a number of different publishers that we work with that might have their own requirements within the URL structure, and just being able to support them affiliates. So for us, kind of creating guides and creating top tips for affiliates and being able to support them in order to kind of support them migrate into app tracking as well is useful. And then the next thing after that is just the resource. So in order to kind of manage it and slowly roll out app tracking itself and supporting the publishers, then from an account management point of view, obviously we need to put the resource behind it properly in order to support both the brand and the publishers in the rollout of it, really. And then the last point is just to remember the main KPIs and really from a brand perspective, why they want to activate app tracking to begin with. In the long term, you then want to be able to set up proper reporting in order to review your KPIs on a publisher basis as well. So whether that's a new customer acquisition, lifetime value, making sure that we can kind of report on that from a brand point of view, and obviously optimize that with affiliates as well.
Excellent. Well, I'm back. I just had to take a little break. So yeah, we've got a few minutes left. I mean, people do please get your questions in. But yeah, so in terms of one final takeaway that each of us could leave the audience with, what would be that one final takeaway you have in terms of unlocking the app for affiliates? What would you give people? I'll start with Clem. Start with you.
Sure. So there was $120 billion spent on apps in 2019. There's a huge amount of app-first users out there, and it's really important to capitalize on this. I completely appreciate that in the past, app tracking was really, really complex, but advertisers no longer need to be burdened with the task of solving this themselves. Between their network and third parties like Branch, it's become infinitely simpler for advertisers. And hopefully today has demonstrated how it really is in everyone's best interest to work together to move this topic forwards.
Excellent. Alexander?
I think Clem did really a great job there, sort of summing up. I think it's really from our end, right? We as a publisher, we are very, we are driving this agenda in the industry, and we're very keen on helping our advertisers. And I think one needs to remember that I think the whole idea of affiliate marketing is really that you are paying for performance and you're paying for a sale. You said it very well in your introduction, Simon. Which means that in this time of COVID and uncertainty and lockdowns, it's really an ideal channel for you to control your budget and the way you are spending on marketing dollars, because you can design your campaign such you're guaranteed to get a return on your investment here. You're not going to throw out money somewhere on a billboard and you don't know what's going to drive. Here you only pay when there's a sale in. And app is app is the future. And if you enable app tracking, that allows publishers to help you drive those sales into your app.
That's great. Nick, any final takeaway?
Yeah, it's just that I foresee that 2021 will be a big year for kind of app adoption. I think we've seen some kind of early movers this year, and I can kind of foresee it really growing next year. I think the benefit and the point to make aware is that traditionally teams are separate. So you've got your app campaign and then your affiliate team. It's about both teams kind of talking together, because there's a lot of potential to utilize affiliate publishers in order to drive both app install and then app conversions as well along the way. It's just purely untapped at the minute that there's a lot of opportunity for.
Yeah. And Oleg?
Yeah, I think everyone summarized it pretty well, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, just because app is a separate platform, it doesn't need to be any more difficult. So, right now there are ways to run your app campaigns in the same ways as you run your web campaigns. You could use the same link, you can have the same commission structure. So, it's all about kind of just making sure that everything is ready from the start. But yeah, there was no really any other burden in place in order for you to actually enable the app tracking for affiliates.
Yeah, and I mean, my takeaway is from, and this was the purpose of setting up today, is, we had the ecosystem here, right, represented. And as this ecosystem, we're doing it, and we're doing it well, and we're seeing that drive sales, and we're seeing that drive transactions, not just like top of funnel app install stuff. So to me, I think it's just, my key takeaway is, give us a call. Let's go. Let's do this tomorrow. Let's do this now, because the only thing you're going to do is just drive more sales or transactions or new accounts or whatever it is, depending on your type of business. So there's nothing holding you back. So hopefully you've learned something, and just want to thank everyone for joining us on the panel today. Had a great time. And yeah, look forward to talking to you soon. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you. Ciao, ciao.